entitled and grew up, and maybe you did. I don't know.
No, I didn't. I'm pretty nice, but then when I get back, I'm like, right? Like that's the passive aggressive in me. I don't do it to the person afterwards.
Yeah, I go to the same nail lady every time. I just say, hey, I need to book an appointment with Thin, and that's that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, my
and
my nail lady has her own shop, so it's just I haven't seen her since Sophia was like 2. She does Sophia's nails for me. She used to when she was little. Now she does the regular nails for her, and she will like bend over backwards to get Sophia in. I was like, Sophia has prom. Oh, okay, well we'll move all these people around to get her in. And I'm like,
Oh.
I need to get my nails, and she goes, yeah, I'll wait for you next week. I'm like, yes.
I know, and I had never asked for that, but it was the night that my dad flew in and I was leaving the next day for Italy. And I was like, is there any way that I could come in earlier in the day? Could you like see if somebody would swap with me? They were like, kind of like the Chris Farley thing, kitchen's closed.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
See,
chat.
I don't think I could ever
I
do that. That's why I love like my lady, it's just her. And so
Yeah.
I'll text her right now and go, I need to come in this weekend. And she'll like come in on a Sunday for me.
Oh,
oh
that's
wow.
nice. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Okay.
I'm listening to a guy that's kind of unreasonable hospitality type stuff. That's not his book, but and I was talking to somebody and there's this nice restaurant in a small town not far from here. And I was meeting with somebody and they're like, yeah, they closed at 9 and they walked in at 8:40.
Oh,
But they had driven an hour to go to the restaurant. And so they were fully anticipating, oh, so sorry, we won't be able to, but they're like, no, come on in. They gave them full service. They said, he's like, we weren't ever getting the evil eye. Like it was time to go. They were happy to talk to us. They brought us extra things from the kitchen. I was like, yeah, because they were cleaning the kitchen, but, putting it on your plate. But it's just, you can decide how you want to show up.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's part of the being goals. So I sent you guys an email today. Pam, I would say the second call, just listen to the first few minutes of it. The rest of it, we spent working on our goals.
okay.
But the first call, you might want to listen to that one, in 2 times. Although I talk pretty fast, so you might be able to do 1.5. But then let's try to have those done by Tuesday. I did a couple of quick hit forms I'll share with you if I can find them. Where did the PowerPoint go? Yeah, so where did the second PowerPoint? Oh, here it is. So part of what I made here is like once you have your big juicy goals, right? I want you to keep writing them down. So like right here is some space, and I did it on PowerPoint because I figured that was the easiest. If not everybody has Adobe that you can actually go in and make Adobe changes, that you can just go add a text box in here. But I want you to type in, if you have 3 goals, type in your 3 juicy goals. Like me, I have a couple, right? Like my juicy goal is to be able to ski when I'm 80. I also have a goal around finances and paying off all of my debt in 5 years. So I have a couple there and I gave you some examples. But then what these inspired actions are, these aren't the nitty-gritty details. These are like, okay, if I want to be able to ski by the time I'm 80, then I know I need to shed some pounds and I have a particular amount. I know that I need to become more active because the body in motion stays in motion. I know that I need to make some money, which is also part of the financial goal, right? And so these are like big rocks that I know I need to take care of. And then there's a second page that you can put more of those inspired actions if you have them. Because I also know that part of these inspired actions for me are to set up an every other year or every year conversation with my financial planner. That is like putting bamboo sticks underneath my nails. Like, I just hate that, right? Like, and so anyway, there's a few things there because then what we'll do is break it down into and reverse engineer. Okay, if I want to shed basically another 25 pounds by the end of this year, what does that mean like on a monthly basis? Well, then that means I want to shed 3 pounds, right? So then you can come in here and add a text box in here. And this is for April. I want to shed 3 pounds. Right now, how I'm going to do that might show up over here too, because I want to start a weightlifting. Like I've been trying to habit stack since the beginning of the year. So I may put in here that I want to start a weightlifting program on April 21st that I'm doing weights of some type. And I don't do more than 20 minutes, 3 times a week. right? Like that's the thing I need to do in April. Now, I also know in May that I need to also shed 3 pounds, right, to get to my goal. And then in June, the same thing. Now, you notice I tried to, it kind of reformats slightly, so it looks like the edges are off slightly, but you get the gist, right? And so then these are like, what are those things? So like for April, I need to make sure I'm attending all of my networking items. I need to make sure I'm doing 25 reach outs, because another like one of the bigger rock goals is to sign a new client, one at my 6 month, one at my 12 month, like every other month, right? So that becomes something I need to do. Then when I go about my weekly plan, that's when I come in and then say, okay, well, what do I need to do this week? When I look at my travel schedule and what I have going on, like, what do I need to get accomplished this week? And I put in, then here's all the stuff I need to do this week. But I highlight, and you don't have to do it exactly this way, but then I highlight when I have meetings. That's where you see the colors, because I know then that I don't have time to do that. But then I kind of get stupid because like tomorrow I had a full day with nothing going on. And what do? Oh, let's go hike at 8:30. Let's go walk it, whatever. But it's still reaching my goals because it's part of my activity goal. Right. So I wasn't planning on going into this in here, but also don't get freaked out that these look like they go past the pages, because they do in Canva. But that's what those two documents are for. And eventually the outcome is I want you guys, and you can use whatever format you want to use. I just created the bingo card because I thought it might be kind of fun. My sister had one. And so do what works for you, but we're going to eventually get to the point where you have for 30 days, like what you want to get done in May, like not just the big rocks, but like, what are the things? Like, I know that I want to be a guest on a podcast. So what would it take to get me as a guest on a podcast in May? Well, it would mean that I would need to go through the 5 that Sarah's already researched and sent me and actually fill out the damn form, right? And they're not forms they can fill out because it's like, what's your opinion on feminism, right? Like, and
Yeah,
so there's things like that that I know I need to get done. And what I do is I just put them in the back of my passion planner, right? Like you can see I've got like the big rocks and squares here. And then the things that need to happen that month for it to come to fruition. And then I move it to my weekly plan. So whatever works for you, but I want us ultimately get to a point where you have something that you can take a look at every day and know what your big juicy goals are and the big rocks of inspired action that will get you there. And whether or not you use a bingo card or put it in your planner or in your electronic version, whatever, because out of sight's out of mind. And it was always funny to me when I used to have this playbook that I did for Amira. And if I skipped a few days where I didn't do it, and then I like was looking, like I would start to have more action done because I was looking at it and looking at those things that needed to accomplish. So, and then the reason I put the other 2 months there is sometimes when you're thinking about what do I need to do this quarter to put myself in a position to gross 300 some odd K or whatever. I just made that up, but like 300K at the end of the year. Well, chances are from like a financial perspective, I need to do a personal budget and I need to do a business budget. And, so I gave you some of those ideas, but then some of it might be, oh yeah, I need to evaluate in May if that budget is working or in July or in June, right? So there's some things that automatically will add to the next 60 days or 90 days of what you want to do. And I don't want it just to be blocked into 1 month because it needs to be doable, right?
I
Not
need,
where you're stressed.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you,
No,
but
go for it.
I'm looking at Pam. I don't know, she doesn't know I'm looking at her, but I'm looking at Pam because
Yeah.
and this is what my partner gets mad at me. I did not have a budget.
That's okay.
That's why you're looking at me.
So that is yeah, because you're the numbers person.
I don't either. I don't have a personal budget.
So yeah, I don't have a personal or a business budget.
I don't either, guys.
Okay, that makes but that's true because I'm trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to make goals? And part of it is that we need the budget.
Yeah.
but that can be a
And
goal.
No, so yeah,
I
so I
think
appreciate
I think a part of an action for you is that you and I on your next one-on-one, if you haven't signed up for it yet, make sure you do, need to help unwind that budgets are icky. or that you're, like I was working with, I think it was Heather, and I was talking to her about it, and she kept thinking like budgets were this thing that she was constrained to, and she was locked in a cage. And I'm like, no, it can change. It's just a guiding principle, right? Like it just helps you kind of know where your money's coming and going and flowing. And it doesn't have to be like, oh, if I didn't do this one thing, or I didn't like pay for this one thing this month, it's totally going to screw up my budget. No,
Yeah, think of it
Debbie,
more like a forecast, and maybe that'll help. Like forecast what you see.
I also wonder, speaking for myself, there can also be like, oh, the budget's going to tell me no, and I don't want to hear no.
Yeah.
So that's a layer before even feeling locked in. It's like, I don't want to hear a no, I can't do that. And if you're in the dark, you can keep doing it without being out of budget.
And then you have all this energy seepage, right?
Yeah, sure. No, I'm not saying it's a good thing. But
Yeah,
I'm like,
no,
I'm
no,
not even to the point of I think it's gonna lock me in. I'm at the point of I don't want to hear what it has to say. Like
yeah, I totally hear you. Okay, so I didn't mean to go off into that, but I thought I would kind of do just a quick explanation. I tried to make it explainable in an email, but sometimes what I think makes sense as I'm typing doesn't necessarily always make sense. And we're going to continue to work on this, but what I really want you guys to have done by Tuesday is feel really confident and use ChatGPT to help you get succinct, but get really succinct on what your big juicy goal is. And Pam, we kind of used yours as an example in the call when we were doing ChatGPT. We just copied and pasted and said, make this in a much more succinct. And then it came back and said, do you want this in a bold or sassy or playful? We're like, yeah, be bold and sassy, like or playful or something like that. So anyway. Okay, so this is a coaching call. So what I would like for you to do is I want you to go around, and I want to start out with, excuse me, the first round is I'd like to hear a win and maybe a quick update, Pam, on your trip. And then I want us to each think about what's something right now that you're kind of struggling with. And we'll kind of listen to all three of them, and whoever wants to volunteer to say, hey, let's talk about this. We might get to all three of them. So Pam, start out with a win and tell us in like your top 3 favorite things in Italy.
A win would be that I came back from vacation with a fairly small list of things to catch up on, which is good. That's a huge win. Despite my newest employee quitting while I was not in Italy.
Who did?
Adam.
no way.
The new hire that was like so excited to join our company. Yeah. Anyway, we'll come back to that. 3 favorite things. When we were in Amalfi, we did a lemon tour. And so you go to like this vertical lemon farm, and the guy, it's family owned, and his dad built it, and he's running it. And you climb these crazy steep hills to go up and go through all these things, and they've added some tourism to help make the ends meet. But they brought us to like where they've got like a little outdoor kitchen, and they gave us lemon pound cake and lemonade, and they showed us how to make limoncello and let us try it. Of course, we bought some. And it was just so neat. It was like family run, like his wife and his daughter were there helping, and his dad came in, and like it was just I just loved it. But they make Amalfi lemons, which he actually like cut the rind and the lemon and gave us the whole thing. And you can eat the whole thing because there's no wax on it. It's 100% organic. Like it was just amazing. I just loved being there. It was just so neat. You like walk under these canopies of all these lemons, and it was just so neat. And I loved Sicily. We spent 3 days in Sicily. We were in Palermo first, and then we stayed over on the East Coast, and we went to Taormino. We went to Syracuse. Loved everything about Sicily, just the food, the people, the views, the history, like all of it was wonderful. And I think in Rome, probably my favorite thing was the Colosseum. Actually, the Forum next to the Colosseum. I mean, the Colosseum was cool too, but like I could have spent a tremendous amount of time in the Forum walking around and just like absorbing and looking at things. We had a guided tour, so It wasn't unlimited time, unfortunately.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff, it is hard to get unlimited because they're so packed.
Yeah, but it was awesome, and we had such a good time, and we met some really fun people that we got to hang out with. Like, I don't think our kids would necessarily be friends, but the adults had a great time, so that was awesome. So,
Cool.
and I took like, 1,000 pictures or something ridiculous.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, pass it on.
Krista, you're next.
I wish I could unmute you so you didn't have to worry about finding the button while you're driving.
I know, I thought there was a way.
All right, there we go. That's all right. I'm literally across the street from my office, picking up my daughter in the parking lot. So it's not a big deal. I'm just waiting in the parking lot. So a win since Tuesday, right? Since we did this on Tuesday. Let me see. What is a win? That I actually got to spend some time working on a craft project yesterday. So my daughter is her color guard is going to state this weekend, and I have decided to try to make 5 T-shirts for some of the moms. And instead of it being stressful, I'm like, I'm just going to enjoy it. And if I don't get it done, I don't get it done. It's not a big deal. So I spent like about an hour and a half last night with a glass of wine, watching the show with my daughter while I was just cutting it and just taking my time and just kind of enjoying it.
Fabulous.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
So yeah. So that was a win. We actually got to do that, and we had a late night last night. But then, yeah, that's it. That was my win. I didn't go to Italy, so I don't have my 3 favorite things to tell you.
That's okay. That's okay. Shireen, bring us home, girl.
Okay, so little circle, I have blocked time on Wednesdays from 9 to 3 for Big Vision Day to not be in the operational stuff. So I find that to be a win. But I gone through a little exercise with somebody, and it was basically, what do you do really, really well that is so easy to you? It is like a tree making oxygen. You don't even think about it. And so I was like, oh, I'd love to help people love life, or, to open spaces. And hence Debbie got a text from me today, but space, I have plenty of space in my heart and my homes to support other people in their lit up life. Then I thought of Debbie, and I'm like, but do I do it for myself? Am I leaking out? And so I was like, oh, I should treat myself like I treat other people. So I took a 2-hour break at the botanical gardens yesterday, just to be in the sun and in the view and just exploring, and guilt-free, I think, was the key as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm glad to hear that.
So I'm going to treat myself like I treat others.
Yeah, that's so
Which
important.
sounds simple, but yeah.
Yeah, it's important. It's important. Which, by the way, all of you, I just went out and looked, and Krista, I'm not 100% certain if you I need to look at the coaching schedule, but I don't have any of you on my April one-on-one coaching schedule.
I put it at the top in big and circled when you said something earlier. I'm like, oh,
Because here's the deal. They get, I mean, I have
You
other
don't have
clients.
anything open for April.
I don't. Yeah, that's the problem because it gets booked. So
I was gonna share my screen, but yeah, it says no appointments available this month,
okay. Well, give me a few minutes
if I have the right link.
when the call, well, it's the one out on the coaching schedule.
It says no appointments available for May or June, so maybe that's last year's link,
Could be.
because I had it saved in Notion.
So
Let me try it on this link. Hang on. Oh yeah, different link.
okay. Good.
There
Are
are
there
some spots
things
open
showing?
for April. Yeah.
I'm sorry. There are, yeah, I was gonna say I thought there were things open in April, but so please go do that. And go ahead and do May and June because I have most of my calendar like booked out, because I would, like, you guys and private clients are first priority, right? And then other stuff gets filled in there. So I'd rather you guys don't book them all the way through the year, because then sometimes things come up, right? Like my travel schedules change slightly or whatever, but I know my calendar's up to date through June. Actually through July. No, through June, because I might end up going to California in July. So, okay. So who's got something that, like, what's happening in your businesses that, how do I want to ask this question? You kind of get the gist of what I'm asking, but what's something what's a burr under your saddle that,
I want to hear about Adam.
yeah, I do want to hear about Adam.
Well,
That's the
I
burr in my saddle is the coat hanger in the room. But
well,
I know
somebody
you're
else
talking
had
about other stuff.
something more pressing I wanted to allow for that, if anybody else had something
Well,
that
and
they
really
really need to
quickly, I
talk
want to
about.
check in. I want to check in with Krista because your energy seems a little lower today. Everything okay? Here, I'll ask you to unmute. That's helpful.
Thank you. Yes, I was in court all day today or earlier today, and I just came
Oh.
home. I think because I was up till like 1:30 last night working on my Cricut. I came back to the office and I took a little nap. Then I got up and I've had meetings. I'm just a little tired, but I'm good. I had a good day. It's been a busy day, busy week, busy 2 weeks at work, but good. So actually, really funny, real quick. I went in. I needed an appointment for someone for a minor party, and the person on the list for the next appointment was Carmen. So,
Huh.
yes, although I don't think she should be doing the appointments because she gets paid nothing on them, but I'll talk to her about that later. I got my
You'll catch her on that individually.
yeah, we literally get paid like $20 an hour from the court, and so it's just not, but I get it. But yeah, so I just thought it was funny. No, I'm good. I'm just tired. I'm just waiting for my daughter. She's coming out. But yeah, no, I'm actually having a good day. It's just trying to payroll's coming up, and it was a little tight this month. We all billed our hours, but we didn't get the money in. So we're trying to figure that out. But I'm not stressing over it. I woke up this morning with a dream, and my dream was basically telling me that I have no savings, that I have no safety net. And I woke up with that thought, and I immediately said, nope, that is not the thought that I'm waking up with. I'm waking up with the thought that I'm getting in $20,000, that this is what we're doing. And so I just kept telling myself, that woke me up. And then I just kept telling myself, that's not what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and that's perfect. And then it's, what would it take to bring in that 20,000, right? Like,
right.
Yeah. Good job,
Yeah,
Krista.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Okay, I'm going to put y'all back on mute. My daughter's getting in the car. And I'll be in my office like in less than 5 minutes.
Okay. Thanks, Krista. Okay, Pam, tell us about Adam.
Okay, so Adam started on Wednesday. I did onboarding with him, did a little more with him on Thursday, a little more on Friday. And then I went to Italy on Saturday, and Monday he called out sick. And Tuesday he put in his resignation.
What was the reason?
It was the gentlest and kindest resignation letter I think I've ever read. But the long and the short of it, like I prompted him for more information because I was like, okay, this is 2 people in a row. Like, is it something about the job or the team, or like, can you just give me something?
Yeah.
And basically said he had a family medical situation, and he was afraid he wasn't going to be able to give the job his full attention, and that it was nothing about the job or the team. He really loved everything that we were doing and really believed in it. And, it was really sad that he wasn't going to be able to be a part of the team, but that this is what he had to do for now. And so we said, if anything changes, let us know. And so that was a fun text to get while I'm in Italy. Then we got notice that one of our highest paying clients is, doing a huge reduction in force, and we are also going to be on the chopping block. So we're trying to see if there's like a happy medium, like we could maybe do like half of what we've been doing instead of all of it, to keep them as a client. And because we know that the one person they have in-house can't do everything that we do and everything that she does. So I got those back-to-back messages while I was gone, and that was really tough. So we're, back to the drawing board on hiring. We've reposted the job, and Molly's already started interviewing people, and we're just kind of
Do
trying to
any of
move
your
forward.
employees do you have a like an employee incentive program for people that recommend people and then they stay, like I'm thinking about one of the best referrals are people that are doing the job today, right? Like, do
Mhm.
they know anybody? Because we used to have these referral programs where you would get like a certain bonus and it was broken out. So when the person started, you got a small little piece of it. And then after they'd been there 6 months, and then like after a year, you got another little thing. Do you guys do any of that?
We don't, we don't have anything like that. Like most of my team doesn't really have anybody they could recommend. I think that Katrina brought in her sister when we were like really desperate, and her sister was happened to be available, and that's worked out really well.
Yeah.
But most of, because I've asked the team like, hey, do you guys know anybody? And they're like, nobody I would like want to put my name on, to
Yeah.
refer, or that they'd want to work with. So um, and so we interviewed one person, but she wants like 110,000 a year, and our range goes up to 85. So it's like, in this climate, this economic climate, I am not willing to go crazy on, you know, because our clients are, we've had two clients have reduction in force and needing to cut services with us either in half or completely. I have other clients who are really concerned about how they're going to raise
Yeah.
money, and any client that relies on government funding is scrambling right now, and so
Yeah.
there's just a lot going on in the market that is really stressing our clients out, and in turn stressing
Yeah.
me out. So I'm like, maybe we
And
don't
Pam,
hire, and we get rid of some of the clients that are a pain in the ass and really taking up brain space and capacity and whatever, and just kind of focus on the ones that are really our ideal clients.
have you ever
So
heard of a SWOT analysis? Any of you?
mhm.
Yeah, it might not be a bad idea for everyone to do this. And not I don't buy into the fear stuff, but the markets there things are changing, right? Things are shifting and at a little bit faster pace than most presidential inauguration frames, as
Yes.
far as like the shifting of the market. And as I watched $500,000 go away in my 401k over the last 2 days. But I do, like I think it's just like in some of the readings, right? The Science of Getting Rich and all of these books, it's about having yourself available for opportunities and being ready for those shifts. And so it might not be a bad idea to think about like what are the strengths of your business right now? And then what are the weaknesses? And part of it is, Pam, like I think you're actually a lot stronger than other people that might be in this because you do have other like accounting clients. But when you're in the science and industry, the STEM, and all of a sudden funding for STEM starts to go away, and all these, like that could be a weakness if that was your full business model. But if it's still a pretty big piece of it, that could be a weakness or a threat, right? Like something that could hurt the business. And then, so it's strengths, weaknesses. Then what are the opportunities? Doesn't mean maybe you go after some other high paying regular accounting people. I don't know, right? Like through just this period until some of the unknown gets equaled out. And I'm not giving you solutions necessarily. I'm just like ideas that come to my head. And then
Yeah.
the T is threats, right? So a threat would be if all like funding for anything to do with any of your businesses completely went away. I don't anticipate that happening, right? But but it is. I was just talking to someone today about the land management and fire, like the whole forestry thing, and how, it used to be 9 different agencies or 9 different sections, and now they're consolidating into 3 because they've lost so many people. And so good news, bad news is there's a lot of people that have lost their jobs recently that could lend to hiring someone if you're trying to hire someone. But like if you like go through that and kind of think about each of you, your business, right? Like I was even thinking about doing that for my Airbnb because every year we have this big car show here. And for probably 20 years, the same group of Canadian guys have come down here and only half of them are coming.
Mhm.
You know, so here I just lost some cash revenue that was coming in May, you know, and so it's like, okay, well, then what's the shift? You know, like what would it take then to have somebody here over Lost in the 50s? And what would it take? And I thought, oh, I need to throw it out on Facebook, right? Or do some additional things to let people know it's available. And it
Do
just
you
helped spark some ideas.
do you manage your own Airbnb listing?
Yeah, because it's just one.
I can give you some pointers, and some things you can
Oh,
do.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, Shireen, that'd be awesome.
I mean, not in
Yeah,
this
what would
call.
it take? Connect with Shireen.
Yeah,
Right?
because Meredith did some of the things and she did see improvements. My hairstylist does what I tell her, and then she sees improvements. And so,
Shireen, yeah, I'd love that. That'd be
yeah.
awesome.
There's some just little algorithm friendly, you got to behave the way Airbnb wants you to behave, and then they push you up. And,
That's
anyway.
great because half the time I try to search it and I can't even find it. And I'm a super
Yeah.
host. I'm like, why doesn't it appear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Pam, the other thing that's coming through my mind, and again, I'm talking to myself too, sometimes I'll slow down and be like, what if this was the best thing ever? Like, because sometimes I can be very charging in a direction and it'll seem like my path is just got obstacles and obstacles. I'm like, wait, what if this was for my good? That there was an obstacle and it made that path harder. Um, and so I do wonder if, like, in some odd way, is hiring what you need to do right now? Like, maybe your business is going to scale to your team versus your team scaling to the current business. Like, is there any, like,
Mm.
get tight to get strong, like scale back to, or go slower to go faster, whatever those.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was talking about. Like maybe we don't hire and we just get rid of some of the clients that are,
Yeah.
not profitable and focus on the ones who are and who, are ideal clients. The flip side of that is my big juicy goal, of course, is to sell my business. And so
But what I'm
scaling
saying,
back doesn't lend itself well to that.
but
Well,
also maybe it does or it doesn't, like, I'm not saying I have the answers, but somebody might like to buy a business that was really nimble, that could deal with the market right away. Like, that may be of higher value than actual gross revenue of people who could just flutter when you leave, like, so I don't know. I could see how it would show up that way as not, and that's what I'm saying. Sometimes they seem like I'm so clear and I'm on this path, and why are these obstacles? And I'm like, oh, wait, what if they're not obstacles and I'm just making them so?
yeah. And here's what I would also put out there for you, Pam, is to do a SWOT analysis on the sale of your business. Like, what is your business strengths right now in a market, right? What are some of the weaknesses? What are some of the opportunities that you could potentially benefit from that maybe you're not today? And what are some of the threats? And because it may be that, because you're feeling this knowing that maybe we don't hire right now. And Shireen, I kind of like how you said that, like scale the business to the team, but then that doesn't mean that in 6 months with some of the stuff blows and some of it, like, or in 9 months that it doesn't shift slightly. Now, the hard part about that is, and the weakness to that is if when you're starting to fill out paperwork now, right, then some of those numbers will change, but that's going to be normally anyway,
Yeah.
where you
I
have to
did
go.
fill out the paperwork for the company that's like the business broker that
Yeah.
can shop my business. I did that on the way to Italy on the plane and sent them all the information that
Oh,
they
good.
needed. So we'll see, because they'll do kind of
An evaluation.
a little marketing package, basically put that together. And so I'm really interested to see what they come up with. And
And like jumping industries, but like in real estate, I really like owner financing, or creative terms. And so, it could be that you want X amount of money all at once with the sale, clean break, you're out, you're done. But, there could be other ways of, like, maybe you get a higher, in number because you get lump sum now and then pay out over time, and then you could reach different, in real estate, you can reach different buyers, the more creative, it gets.
yeah.
Yeah. Krista, any thoughts for Pam?
No, I liked what you were saying about the SWOT thing, and I'm gonna look at that. But yeah, I think, I mean, I really don't have anything else new. I think, you just got to kind of look at everything and look at it with an open mind, and maybe think outside of the box on some things.
Yeah, and I think Pam, you have a really good oh, what's the word I'm looking for? You've got a really like you've got your arms around your business pretty well. And so you know, shoot it off Crystal's back too when she gets back. See what she thinks. You know, do
She
you
doesn't know I'm looking to sell.
no, I mean the not the selling, the hiring.
Oh, oh yeah. No, we did talk about that yesterday. Um, we're doing the 20, I think it's 22nd, 23rd, maybe. We're doing our annual planning and then our quarterly planning. So, in in 2 weeks, I'll have a much better idea of kind of like where we're headed and what we're doing. We hired a consultant who, I think I told you guys about her. She does like a version of EOS. Like it's not EOS. She's not an EOS implementer like officially, but she works within the EOS system and adds in her own additional things. And so she'll be kind of guiding us through that planning process and working with
Good.
our team. And I think that's going to be um, super helpful to have some just like somebody
Yeah.
there asking tough questions, poking holes in our thought process, making sure that we're not just, skating through it.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
Do you have a
And
gut feeling of which way you want to go?
what do you mean?
Like, kind of, scale down a little bit, like right size the clients to your current team, or whether you want to
Mm.
grow your team. Do you have a gut?
I mean, I think I'd like to keep growing if we can, right? Like I think I'm hesitant to be stagnant, right? Like, but also have to be aware of the capacity of my team, right? Because I don't want them burning out. And um, we can't take on any new clients right now, although we have one of our HR clients. The owner is not an accounting client, but he's on the alternative board that I sit on. His bookkeeper just resigned yesterday, like effective immediately. Like they came back from a planning meeting and her stuff was on her desk with her resignation
wow.
letter. Yeah, so he's freaking out, right? Like luckily payroll was run, but so I may take him on just because I want to be helpful and my team doesn't really have capacity, so that means taking it on myself, but put enough other things in motion that like I'm getting things off my plate one at a time. I've got like 2 clients down. I've got 2 more to go. I've got 1 onboarding complete so I can transition it to a bookkeeper, another onboarding that I've enlisted Morgan's help with. So I'm getting closer to getting out of regular client work, so it frees me up to help the team and to do stuff like help this guy out until my team has capacity to do it themselves. Um, so I want to keep the pipeline open and find a way to kind of create like a waiting list at the same time so that um,
And Pam, in that same note, where are you at on the HR side of that?
so HR is going pretty well. Still some kinks with the team and Molly, like not horribly, but just personalities are sometimes don't always mesh. But the clients love her and she's doing a fantastic job. Um, just got another compliment from a client today that she was offering to help and did some legwork that he paid us for. And ultimately we were trying to um, outsource them to a forensic payroll company to fix the problem that he had. And his CPA ended up doing it. But, his message today was like, couldn't have done this without Molly. Like her legwork really made all this possible. I really do appreciate everything that she did. And so we keep getting like amazing feedback from the client. And she's working on, I think we billed maybe $15,000 this month.
So what if you,
For her
instead of
services. So.
hiring in the accounting world, and I get you're not, you know what I mean, the numbers
Yeah,
side.
yeah.
And like, is there, like, as you're doing your SWOT analysis, is there opportunity there that in this downswing in STEM and, funding for grants and everything else is, and with the stock market volatility, it does create sometimes hardships for investors, right?
Mhm.
Um, And so is there a way to maximize the opportunity on that side of the house while some of this is going on until you get to that point, which still then makes you a really viable business to purchase?
Yeah, and really where we really start to make money with the HR side is when we can hire not a, not a junior person, but somebody who's more junior than Molly, right? Who's like, maybe I can pay 65,000 a year instead of 130, right? So somebody who's much lower on the pay scale, who can do a lot of the work that Molly can do, that she can direct and kind of guide them on what they need to be doing and thinking and whatever. That's when we really start to make money, because Molly's going to quickly get to the end of her capacity, because she's doing a huge HRIS implementation, and she's doing all this other hiring and firing and recruiting and all this stuff for the 2 clients that we have. But we're looking at likely like close to pretty much break even by the end of, I think we were slightly down by the end of March. So by the end of April, probably break even on Molly for the
Nice.
year.
That's great
So
within 4 months, Pam.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's really
not bad. Like to not have lost any money, and our clients are really happy with it. So that's part of the like planning process, is like, okay, now how do we scale that so that, because we're working on the packaging and the pricing to roll it out kind of to our internal clients. And she's been having some conversations, and we've got the AI guy that's working on it on his side. And so hopefully in a couple of weeks, we'll get to put all that together and be able to really launch that to the public. So I think there's lots of opportunity there. And the goal all along was for that to help fund the growth of the company all together, right? Not just
Right.
to fund the growth of the HR side, but to fund everything. So
Did-
that's a possibility, because we can work with HR clients that aren't accounting clients.
Right. That's kind of where I was going, where then you're not in the same kind of threat category of clients, right?
Yeah.
And then you're right sizing the work to the team, which has been your team's kind of beef, right? Is
Mhm.
like, and that's been a worry of yours. So right sizing that work, which you're already starting to think, oh, let's maybe shave off a few clients, then maybe frees you up a little even, right? Like what I'm thinking of, to help maybe look at and say, okay, does this side of the organization need to have that more junior, like what would it take to hire someone in on that to then bring in
Right.
the deficit plus more on this side, and maybe even get them to be equal, right? So that then when the market shifts again, and hopefully things will, sooner than later, but then it allows for some of that, what's the word? Because I feel like almost sometimes when we're surfing the edge of chaos like this in the economic forum, it like surfs for a little bit and then it comes back up and then it comes back down a little bit and then it comes back up and then sometimes it'll go into recession and then it'll come back up. But if you can do whatever you can in your business to make it more like this, right? And that's where like right sizing that work to your team. I'm going to totally steal that string because I really love that statement. On the accounting side, and then beefing up the HR and maybe even have it grow faster than what you thought, because HR is in really a lot of need right now because people are wigged out, man. Right? And it creates
Yep.
work and it creates like all sorts of things. And so
And Pam,
it
is
fits
your
in
is your
nicely
stuff
with
remote?
payroll and everything else. So
Sorry, Debbie.
that's
Is
okay.
it remote work, or do your people come into the office?
We don't have an office. We're in like 6 different states.
Okay. There could be some lift for Molly from overseas virtual assistants. Like if there's just and like we're going through a transition with our PMS, our property management software, and I have 2 reservationists in the Philippines that take care of our guests, and they're awesome. But I have been shocked at the level of creativity, just like analytical skills of Meryl, who I would have put as the weaker of the 2. She's been here last time, and Christian kind of supervises her, but I mean, she is freaking badass, and like how she sees things, navigate things, helping with this transition, monitoring this, adding to the, and we pay $9 an hour, which is actually pretty high, for the Philippines. And we pay direct. But you might want to look at something like that if Molly has some just maybe not the junior person you're talking about, but it might be a take some of the tedious
free
stuff
up some
off
of her
of
time.
her,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually part of our value prop that we don't hire overseas.
Oh, I forgot about that. Okay.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about things like HR, which can be really personal when you have to fire people and you have to hire people and the recruiting and all of the compliance with all of the different states and international compliance and all of that stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah, I just thought it was more maybe like run this spreadsheet, go research this,
yeah, no,
this
it's
doc.
more like I gotta sit in on your like, because our team on the accounting side and the HR team, we are really embedded in our clients' teams. So we're not like on call as you need us type. Like we are like, hey, we're having a meeting, we need you here. Right? Like they want us to be aware of what's going on, to sit sometimes in leadership meetings, to attend when they have to fire people, to do all those kinds of things. And so that doesn't lend itself well to an offshore type of situation. But also, like I said, our value prop is that we're creating and providing jobs for American workers that are
I forgot you had
and
mentioned that in the very beginning.
Have you ever, so here's something, and this is for all of you, like if you're ever looking for some HR stuff, but how do I share my screen when it's small like this? Okay, first of all, I had the link to show the calendar with all of our links in the to sign up for coaching calls. But there are two, you've heard of SHRM?
yeah, I'm a member.
Yeah, you might even go out there and look on their jobs. Do you post on their site?
We haven't tried to hire for HR since Molly, so
Oh, yeah, good call. Sorry. I totally missed that. And then this one's kind of a weird off the shot one, but it's HRNNI
okay.
.org. And this is the one I was telling you about in Idaho, that you might be able to find some people that, maybe making around that or maybe a little bit more, but are willing to do it for less because they would be virtual. Because that's
Yeah,
a big,
so
that's a big
yeah,
sell.
we've got to definitely like button up kind of our offering before I can like really go out there. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely the plan, is to, once we have that buttoned up, hopefully in the next 30 days or so, then figure out like what exactly do we need, right? What stuff could Molly
So
pass on to somebody else? And
you've posted the job. So now it will be, depending on, I guess, the candidates you get, the decision on whether or not you're going to hire.
yeah. Yeah, because I mean, we still have enough work to hire an accounting person right now. It's just if things start to really go south with our clients, like we've had a few blips, but we've also had other clients that we've had to reprice, right, to like increase
Yeah.
their fees because we're doing more for them. And so that's helped. And of course, we've taken on new clients. So a lot of it's come out in the wash, but we're still, I mean, not counting HR, I think we're up 43% over this time last year, and counting HR, we're like 50 something percent over
Yeah,
this
that's
time
awesome.
last year. And
That's great.
and last year was a big jump over the prior year. So we're definitely headed in the right direction.
Yeah,
Just we
definitely
need to
growing.
sustain it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's important to remember, like, you are still in a growth, right? Like, that's big numbers. That's a
Yeah.
big growth. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, keep us posted.
Thank you. Yes. It's been
And then
rough.
in the next
Like
next
2
4
hires, two two resignations, like almost immediately. It was like, holy crap, what are we doing wrong?
I will say though, I was real proud of how, proud's not the right word. I enjoyed seeing a somewhat calmness in you as you shared that all this happened while you were in Italy, and you didn't seem like you,
Yeah. The energy.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Because before you were leaving, I heard a lot of like, but this can't happen while I'm gone. Like it has to be real tight so that everything can run while I'm
Yeah.
gone. and I
Yeah,
can have
and
peace
it's
of mind.
definitely a testament to my team, you know, that they kept the wheels on the bus and everything moved forward. And fortunately, I had only introduced Adam to 2 people before I left. And when he reached out, the one client reached out to Adam. Crystal just let him know, hey, he's had a family medical issue. Pam's going to follow up with you when she gets back. And that was that. So it really didn't cause a big stir, which was nice. And just had a
And I like that you,
moment of panic.
and I like that you came home to, you said relatively small lists. Like those all sound good
Yeah.
because I imagine I visualize you as somebody traveling and enjoying life and go, and so if you could do that and not come back to a massive list, you could navigate a not pleasant situation from afar, without letting it,
Yeah.
you know. So that was great to witness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll see how things go over the next couple of weeks as, things kind of go like this with our clients and we try to hire and
It's it's hard to hire, Pam. I mean, it is. I've been doing it for years, and um, for a little while we were like, okay, is there something wrong with me? Because I went through like 3 paralegals this year or last year. And no, there wasn't anything wrong with me. There wasn't anything wrong with, I mean, the way we were doing things, we relied on certain things, and sometimes things just don't work out. And it's easier to nip it in the bud earlier, you
yeah,
know? So it's hard because it's a lot of time. We're looking for another paralegal right now because the one that quit, last month. But we're looking, but I'm not hiring just to hire.
right. And that's my thing too. I'm not just gonna try and get a warm body.
And I mean,
Um,
I've done that before and that doesn't work either.
no, definitely not. It's expensive to continue to like train
Yes.
and rehire and train and rehire and
Yes.
train and rehire, but I mean, we've done everything that we know how to do to get the right candidates in the door and to ask them the right questions during onboarding or during interviewing. And sometimes they just, either they're not honest with themselves or they're not honest with you, or, things come up, whatever. I mean, we hired somebody who had basically like a mental breakdown last year. Like she was like, I need to go check myself in somewhere. We couldn't have predicted that.
Yeah. You
Like,
can't,
you don't know.
yeah, we hired someone whose grandfather was dying and she had to move back to take care of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And so now it's about putting out there what you want and creating the vibration for that which you want.
I told my team we're not compromising. Every time we compromise to like cast a wider net, it bites us. So we're not compromising. We're
Well,
putting out there what we want and we're gonna believe that it's out there.
and here's the thing. I saw something the other day, and I don't think I sent it to you guys, where in the neuroplasticity of your brain, what happens is the more you say it out loud, right? Because there's a rhyme and reason why I have you like repeat things on your goals and do these things, because the more you say it out loud, the more it is creating that new neural pathway, right? So the more you say, I am I am a woman who hires someone that has this and this and this. And so it is, like the more and more you do that for whatever it is that you want, the more you're creating that neuroplasticity. That's the be it till you become it, right? Like that's the creating I am being this person until it happens, because it's going to happen, but we just haven't risen our vibration enough and created that neuroplasticity to be able to accept that that's what's going to happen. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
I just on Audible, and it's less than 4 hours for the whole book. But it's Go for Stupid. And I really enjoyed listening. It's Steve Sims. He's going to be the keynote speaker at an event I'm going to, and I didn't know him. But I don't know. It was just really good. It was light. It was easy to listen to. It could be in the car. Let's Go for Stupid. And it is like set stupid, unreasonable goals. Go for stupid. And even if you get halfway there, and then just the power of the ask. Like he does crazy things. Like he gets the Pope to marry a couple at the Vatican. And he like that level of stuff that he makes happen. And then he did this study. He asked, like, why did you participate? Why did you? And they were like, because you asked. no one's ever asked before. And then it was fun because then they enjoyed being part of this incredible ask, but anyway, it's just a fun little listen, but it's like 10 chapters or something. And there's a point to each chapter and then 3 questions you ask yourself at the end of each. And so if y'all do want just kind of a light, inspirational, go for stupid goals, it's fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I met a monk, and then I'll let you go because I know we're a couple minutes over.
Met a monk.
His name is Brother Columba, and he is from Scotland, and he was a butler for the Queen.
Mm.
And
Wow.
I asked him, what brought you to becoming a monk? And he said, and then, once you're part of the royal family estate, everybody wants you. And then he moved to the United States, to California, and he was Aaron Spelling's,
Mm.
like managed his household until
Oh,
he
wow.
died.
Mhm.
And then he said, and yeah, this one woman, what's the word he said? Like where you go in and steal somebody. I forget what the word is.
Like you poach them. Yeah.
Poached. That's what he
Yeah.
said. Yeah, she poached me. And then he was like in charge of this, like right now they have a 258,000 square foot home that's on
Oh my
sale. It's
gosh.
the most expensive home right now, I guess, in the state of California, in LA. And he said he just got tired of the whole fake LA stuff. So he came, and he was 1 month from becoming a priest. And he's like, no, I don't know if I really want this. So he went back to Scotland and just came back a year ago. But it was like
Wow.
really interesting to hear. And so when you talk about go for stupid, right? Who would have ever thought here's someone that has like this elite job and I think he was part of her staff in Scotland, right? Like I think he
Yeah.
Scotland, and like, which is a well sought after job there, right? Like go from that to then becoming a monk, right? So like stranger things have happened.
I think that's a book though. I Met a Monk. That's a good title for a book.
Yeah, that is a good title. And then he's become an artist, and he's never had any training, and his artwork is amazing. He's like, yeah, I just start out with the brushes and I just start to do this, and all of a sudden they look like trees, and then I add this and then I add that, and I'm like, whoa,
And there's the art.
there you go. So
I love
stranger
it.
things have happened. Okay, ladies, thank you so much. Have a fabulous day, and we will talk on Tuesday. Don't
Sounds
forget
good.
the link
You're
in the
serious
chat.
about our homework.
I am serious about your homework, and I'm serious about you getting on my schedule.
I just
I
scheduled
got-
myself.
I scheduled April. I haven't scheduled beyond
Okay,
that. But
I'm
I
gonna get
scheduled
on.
April for my coaching calls. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Ciao.
bye, guys.
Bye.